I'm always thinking about something, I'll be in bed and I'll be thinking, what can I do in the morning when I get there? What do I need to do to get my day started right when I get to work?
When I first started cutting gears, I just cut the gear and be done with it, ship it on to the customer. Now here you cut the gear, test it, and then it goes to Mars, So.
Anything that moves on the rover, any of the actuators, any of the gears, we cut all the gears that did that. We were supplied the gear blanks from another company, and we put the gear teeth on them. Whether they were internal, external housings, spur gears, just all sorts of a wide array of different types of gears.
They weren't easy by any means. I mean, we had started off with some of the rough blanks, that were made out of just regular steel, just to practice on to make sure that we could get it down. But when you actually got to the actual material that they wanted to have used, I believe they're all made of titanium. They were just hard to cut, and you had to cut slow, you had to cut methodically, and sometimes you had to take multiple cuts to make sure that the part came out, as perfect as it needed to be in order to go into a Mars rover.
I myself got a little stressed out on some of the more difficult work. I did have some difficulty on a few of them, and just knowing what they were going into, you want to make sure you're putting the best product out there. And so it was a large volume of work that went through, and it took us a long time to get it done. The guys from Jet Propulsion Laboratories were here a couple times just to check on our progress and follow the work through the shop, and that was kind of interesting, having those guys walk around with their laptops and make sure that we're running the right stuff at the right time.
I had a hand on every gear, every single part, every part number. I had final acceptance of that part to go on the rover. The last few weeks of doing the project were down to the last few jobs, and I would work my 8 or 9 hours or 10 hours, go home for a couple hours, come back to work just so I could get the extra time in to get the work done. So it was a long process, and I kind of took it on a personal level, kind of my responsibility to see that the part got out the door in a not only correct, but in a timely manner as well.
I hadn't given it a great deal of thought until we got very close to the arrival. And then I thought, this $2.5 billion project or whatever enormous amount it ended up being really rested on our shoulders. We had kind of a double jeopardy, if you will, in that we had gears inside Curiosity that if they failed would doom part of the mission. But even preceding that, the vehicle had to arrive at the surface of Mars safely. And so having gears in the sky crane that had to lower the vehicle successfully to the surface for all of the other stuff to happen, I called it double jeopardy for Forest City Gear.
I have 3 young boys, and they just think that's the coolest thing, that their dad was able to work on something that's now on Mars. Years ago when we were working on the project here, they were able to come through the plant and they were able to touch some of the gears, so they think that's pretty cool too, that they were actually able to touch them, and now they're up there also. It's a generational thing, it's something that, I did it, I can tell my kids that I did it, and hopefully they can tell their kids, hey, their grandpa put something up there one day, so it's kind of a neat thing.